What's going on, guys? I'm Zach from the Lumiose Post, where we talk about all things Pokemon, and today we will be talking about your theories for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Last week on my Twitter, I asked what your theories were, either sane ones or absolute crazy ones for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and you all on Twitter came through. For those of you on the YouTube side of things, if you're interested, I could certainly see us doing more of these in the future or other type videos. You can follow me at my Twitter. There'll be a link in the description. It's at Lumiose Post. You can check that out and participate in these fun little things and potentially be featured in a video. Without further ado, let's jump in to the theories that you all provided. Okay, so this first one comes from Turtuber on Twitter, of course, but they are on YouTube as well. And they said, it's a basic one, but my theory is that the new professors will be evil, letting their beliefs of tradition or innovation, tradition if it's Professor Sada or Sada, and innovation if it is Professor Turo, drive them to make awful choices in order to best help their region. So basically, like you said, this is a basic one, this is a common one that we're seeing, but that the professors will kind of be wanting to push innovation or tradition, depending on the version you're picking, and will kind of get a little too carried away with that and be the villains. And I certainly could see this being true. I've been thinking for a while that they will be the antagonists, or at least unantagonists. I could see it being a situation where it is like Lusamine in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, where they're not evil, but they are very, very misguided, and they do see the error of their ways and turn, but not before they cause a lot of problems for the region. So, yeah, definitely great thoughts, Turtuber. Love it. Kind of a long one here from Firmino. So they said, I'm actually not buying the professor to be the evil bad guy. Maybe a Kamado type, but not the actual villain. If PLA is to go by, they'll probably want to pull a Volo or a smart AF bad guy that no one almost suspects. So basically what they're saying is they actually do not think the villains will be evil, and they think it'll be more like a Kamado situation in Legends Arceus. Kamado was not a villain in Legends Arceus, but did kind of stand in your way because he disagreed with you, and he was very skeptical of you. So it was a guy with really good intentions who went a little too far, which is something that, I mentioned in the previous thing. I definitely think that is very possible. They then go on to say maybe a super friendly, a tad dorky character like Sophocles' uncle. Forget his name. I believe they're talking about Molane, which I think it's Sophocles' cousin. But yeah, that is really smart, participates, and is important to the lore, only to betray us when he no longer needs us, and is figuring out that everything was his doing. So, like they're saying, maybe there's this dorky character that is kind of helping us along the way, but then ultimately betrays us when he no longer needs us, and we figure out that the whole thing is kind of his doing. And I do think that would be really cool. Kind of like they said, I would like it to be like a Volo thing where there are very subtle hints. Like with Volo, there's just really subtle things. Like he's just a little too interested in everything that's going on, and his face he makes before the battle, before like any of your just little training battles with him, is like this sinister grin. So the hints were there, but it was very small, and I would love to see that with like a dorky character being the villain. That would be really cool, because like they said, you wouldn't expect them. They said, maybe I'm hoping for too much, but would be interesting. It absolutely would be interesting. Also, another female villain instead of all the male ones. Give us a Lusamine plus Oleana levels of craziness and intelligence. It will be such a breath of fresh air, especially after Rose, and will give a great continuation to Volo's level of craziness and power as well. Also, give them and the evil team Cynthia level AI. Suddenly everyone loves the games instantly. That is true. If they gave them Cynthia level AI, a lot of people would really like the games. Now, for the whole female villain thing, I do think that would be really cool. For the record, if Turtuber is right about the professors being villains, then, well, if you play Pokemon Scarlet, then you do have a female villain. But I do think that would be cool to see a female villain. I would like one, like with Lusamine. They kind of tried to rewrite her in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon to be just this misunderstood person. I would like a female villain that's actually just downright evil, like talking Cyrus gets us. Not misguided. I'm pure evil. I'd love to see a female villain like that. Next, we have Alolan trainer Alex, who says that they second the professors being evil, possibly the opposite one from the game you're playing being the main antagonist. So they're implying that actually instead of Pokemon Scarlet's villain being Professor Sada, it being Professor Turo, and then in Violet, Professor Sada being the villain there. I also really like the thought of there being a gym leader for every type, and you get to pick and choose which 8 of them to battle in which order, levels and teams changing depending on how many badges you have. Then 4 you didn't choose become the Elite Four. So a lot to unpack here. So first off, from the opposite professor being the villain in your version, well, I think that actually won't be the case because it is seemingly implied on the Pokemon website, the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet official website, that you will only meet your professor in the game. Now, that could be some kind of red herring, and they're actually going to let us meet both, and one of them is the villain. But as of now, it looks like Scarlet, you're only going to see Professor Sada, and Violet, you're only going to see Professor Turo. Now, for the idea of gym leaders of each type, would love that. They stated in kind of the lore of Sword and Shield that there was a gym leader of each type. There was just a major league and a minor league, and so the 8 gyms you faced were based off of whether they were in the major league or minor league that season. And I would like something similar where you get to pick 8 of them, and then 4 of them become the Elite Four. I would really like that. The only thing is that accounts for 12 types, and that means that there are still 6 gym leaders that you wouldn't get to battle, and that would be a little upsetting to me. I would hope they'd find a way to work them all in. Honestly, I'd love to challenge just all 18 gyms. I know some people might see that as a little too lengthy. I would love that. And as for you being able to pick them in any order, I think that would be awesome. I really hope that the badges are open world in the sense that you can do them in any order, and it's not just the world, the region that is open world. So this next one is from Aura Trainer. What if the professors are from another time, like the player in PLA, and they came with the Legendaries? Because they came from another time, they don't know the region, and you are the chosen one that is going to help them go back to their time. Because you are the chosen one, the Legendary will join you throughout your story, and completing missions and tasks you will get from the professors. So basically, the professors are displaced in time. They're like kind of fallers through time, and they come with the Legendary and kind of give you the Legendary so that you can use it as you're traveling through the region from the get-go. And I think that would make sense for how they're rideable, because there's a lot of talk of these Legendaries being rideable. That makes sense to kind of, you start out with the Legendary just being able to ride on its back, and then after you've beaten a few gyms or done some stuff for the professors, they'll be like, hey, you can also fly the Legendary too, and teach you how to fly it, so you unlock that ability, then surf, etc. And then at the end, you actually catch the Legendary. That would be a really neat way to do it. And the professors being from another time would be a really neat twist, and, I'd love it. Now, this next one comes from Mark Plesko, who says the professors are actually the Legendaries who can take the form of humans. They came to your world to hide out from an evil team from the future or past. Now, that is super crazy, and I don't think it'll happen, but it is crazy enough for me to absolutely adore that. How sick would that be to find out that they're actually the Legendaries? That would be absolutely wild. I don't think that's the case, since it says they're studying a specific Pokemon, and, it's kind of implied that that specific Pokemon is the Legendary of that version. But there is some stuff here that you could give credit to. They, not only is Professor Sada dressed and kind of looks very primal and like she's set in the past, and Professor Turo looks like he's set in the future, but they also specifically have a lot of similarities to Koraidon and Miraidon, respectively. So there's something there. I certainly see where he's getting this, and I would love if they did it. I just don't think they'll do it, but I absolutely love that one, Mark. Okay, so this last one we're going to talk about today comes from my good friend Fons Pataniskas on Twitter, of course, because they're all on Twitter, and he is talking about the movie Coco. Now, if you don't know what Coco is, it's Secrets of the Jungle in English. Now, I'm going to be frank, I'm relaying this straight from Fons Pataniskas, but didn't see this movie. I do keep up with the anime. I actually love the anime, but the movies, I'm sorry, they just don't do it for me. But this is basically the Zarude movie, and in it there's this character named Dr. Zed, and I'm guessing looking at him, he's the villain. But Zed backwards is Dez. Dez means 10 in Portuguese. I'm super sorry if I butchered that pronunciation. But 10 years prior to the events of the movie Coco, Dr. Zed worked for Chrome at the Biotope Company. Now, Chrome is a word that means color, and, well, that's kind of interesting because these games are super involved with color. We see this in just the names of the game. Scarlet and Violet are the two colors at the opposite ends of the visible light spectrum, also known as the rainbow. Now, there's a little bit more to this. So he then sent me in a private chat that the city featured in at least this picture from Coco is very similar to Bom Jesus, which is a city in Portugal. So that is also very interesting. And there's been this theory that basically the mythicals hint to the next region. Like, for example, Magirna, I think, is the best example of this. You can see how Magirna very well might have been a hint to Pokemon Sword and Shield. It looks very steampunkish and all the gears. And one of the main cities we saw in Pokemon Sword and Shield was Motostoke, which, again, very steampunky with all these gears and stuff. So, I think the connection here is that the way Zarude was a hint to Spain was quite possibly through its movie. Its movie has all these Portuguese themes in here, and I think that that is solid. Now, Fons does say that this is a tinfoil hat theory, so, you know, he understands it's kind of batcrap crazy to assume that there are all these connections, so don't blast him too hard for this one. I definitely think there's a connection, though. I think that that was their way of teasing Scarlet and Violet, and that's super exciting to, you know, see that. I love when they tease at the next region. So that is where we're going to close this one out. There were other great theories, but if I go into them, this will be a 20-plus minute video, so I'm sorry, I just can't do that. Super sorry if your theory wasn't represented. I promise I loved them all. I wanted to feature them all, and I hope to do one of these again later down the road when we know more about the games and kind of can get more theories going. So again, if you are not following my Twitter, be sure to do so at LumiasPost. It'll be in the description so that you can do that. If you like these videos, then, well, like them. Hit the thumbs up. Subscribe. That shows me that you like these videos and makes me know, hey, they're going to want me to do another one. So like, comment that you love these videos. Let me know what you think of these theories. Subscribe, hit the bell, share with your friends, all that fun stuff. And until next time, I'll see all of you later.